What's going on, guys? This is Aaron from BayStreet Insider, and we're here with Deepak Varshney, CEO of Usha Resources. It's a pleasure to have you back on today, Deepak. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Some big news today, a lot of big updates for our shareholders. So, I'm excited to be on here and getting the word out.
Yes, you guys have had a lot of news recently. So can you start by giving us some updates on the company, telling us everything that you've been up to since we last spoke?
Yeah, so my gosh, so I think we spoke just before Christmas last, so it's been a lot going on, right? So we embarked on our maiden drill program at Jackpot Lake. We've actually tripled the land package out there. We like what we saw. We recently exercised 100% of our options, so we can proud owners 100% of that property. We've been proceeding with our spin out, so that's coming up shortly. We just announced today the first of what I think is going to be a series of acquisitions in our new hard rock portfolio. So it's been good. Oh, and we just raised $3 million a week ago. So it's been a busy few months.
That's great to see you guys progressing. So let's talk about your most recent news. So Usha Resources entered the hard rock lithium space with the acquisition of a significant Ontario land package with highly evolved LCT pegmatites. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a really exciting project for us, right? So we've been, I'm always looking at projects, and I've been actually negotiating this for a while now, trying to lock this down. I was able to leverage our success at Jackpot Lake to actually facilitate this acquisition, right? So it's a very friendly acquisition. The vendor is a phenomenal guy. 3-year option, where we're able to go take a look at this. The property really, I think, Jackpot Lake was, in my mind, when we acquired it, one of the top 5 undrilled grassroots projects in North America. And I think this really fits the same bill, right? So a lot of companies today, when they're looking at assets, are looking for anomalous pathfinder minerals, whatever. But what we have here is actually confirmation that this is a system that has, so what you're looking for is LCT, lithium, cesium, tantalum, pegmatites. And what we have confirmation here is that we actually have 2 very evolved pegmatites out of over 75 pegmatites on this property. And so, that's a really good place to start, because instead of having to chase to find out, is there something here and working our way, we already know there's something here, right? Like, we have high grade tantalum here. This coarse grade tantalum that you find here, this tantalite, it's only present in one other place in Ontario. That's at Seymour Lake. It's got 10 million tons of lithium at 1%, right? That's GT1's project. And we're the only other place that has that, right? And, so we're really excited from a technical perspective, right? Because it's a fertile system. We know it's got the C and the T. Lithium, we've got 0.5% lithium, but lithium itself, often at the surface is going to be lower than what you find at depth. So for us now, the key is going to be go find where this high-grade lithium is, and that'll be our focus for coming up.
So what are your plans for this newly acquired property then?
We're going to hit the ground hard, right? So it's a multi-year option, as I said. And, I kind of want to be able to figure out within this first year if we're going to want to move on to year 2 and 3, right? So, we're going to have boots on the ground here as soon as the snow melts in April. And, one of the nice things is that we've got access to a drill rig. So we'll be able to probably sit on this property. Of course, you have to get permits, and, we'll be working with the local First Nations. But I'd like to be able to even drill this project this year, right? So ultimately, we're going to hit the ground hard and really get a feel for whether we want to move on to year 2 here.
Those are some exciting plans. You're moving fast. So can you give us some updates on your overall drill program now?
Yeah, so it's been going great, right? So on hole number 2 right now, and it's as I said, I'll tell everybody, right? Like we had a theory, we had a model. We didn't know. It was a little scary when we started drilling whether it was going to pan out. And what we're seeing here on hole number 2 really has further validated what we were hoping to find at Jackpot, right? So we find, the 2 holes, Jackpot hole 1, hole 2, are about 2.75 kilometers apart, right? So they're spread across the basin. And, so far what we see is stratigraphy matches. There's evaporite crystallization throughout both holes, right? And that's important because it means you've got a very, the right environment for brines to form, but also B, it's a closed environment, right? This wouldn't happen in an open environment, right? So, really happy to see, and, of course, Albemarle just came out the other day with their own tech report talking about the significance of halite and evaporites in their own project. And so really this is, the findings we're seeing today show that this is the right system. There's, again, like we've got the right source rocks. And so, Things are going well. Waiting on assays for hole number 1 still. But they're going to be here sooner than later. And, so it's going to be a pretty good run here between Jackpot and White Willow.
Should be an exciting year to come. So the company recently announced the closing of a non-brokered private placement pursuant to the new listed issuer financing exemption. Can you tell us what this means for the company?
Yeah, I mean, so I think you always want a very healthy balance sheet, right? And we're pretty grateful to our shareholders. They came in. This was largely completed by our top 20 shareholders. This puts us in a position of strength, right? So we're fully funded to keep working on our projects. We don't have to worry about people shorting us down for financing here or anything like that. We've got a healthy treasury. Let's just start spending money on I think, increased marketing, right? We've been doing this on a pretty shoestring budget so far, but that's an important part of the story. You got to fill the stadium. And so this, lets us go to work here, and tell the story, focus on that. And so, yeah, I mean, I was very grateful to be able to close very quickly, right? It took about 2 weeks to do. And, to be honest with you, we could have probably done more. But we thought 3 million was enough. And so we capped it at that. I was turning money down even a couple of days ago, right? People were kind of surprised that the financing had closed already. And they're like, do you want more money? And just like, that ship sailed last week, guys. So, yeah.
That's a good problem to have, especially in this market. So very impressive. The company recently announced a share distribution date for Formation Metals spin out, the one that we've been talking about. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that's our 20% share divvy, right? So Formation Metals will take on the nickel project we have at Nicobat. So that's another way for us to reward shareholders, simplify our structure here. We're going to be very lithium focused moving forward. That's one of the reasons we acquired White Willow. And so, it's just a great way to provide shareholder value, right? So on April 12th, the guys who are on record will get a 20% divvy. If you have 10,000 shares of Usha, you'll get 2,000 shares of Formation Metals. It doesn't cost you anything. And then you have to own the stock. And I'm very excited for that story too, right? Because that's going to be, Usha's done really well, I think, in the markets we've had this past couple of years because of our structure. And, that's something that I think will carry on with Formation Metals, right? So make sure it's well structured, well funded. So, I would say it's going to be a nice way to reward our shareholders coming up here.
Yeah, and I'm excited to chat about that. We'll have to have you back on to update us on Formation. So finally, Usha recently provided an update on Jackpot Lake and their lithium project portfolio expansion plans. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so White Willow, as I was saying, we've been looking at assets. I'm always looking at assets, and White Willow is the first of what I think is going to be a series of acquisitions. We're in negotiations right now as we speak. I think that there are a lot of really well-priced assets out there that are accretive. I think what I want to do here is really start building out a portfolio where, we've got a lot of really quality projects. And, the thing about our deal is, these option agreements we're signing are structured so that we're able to, spin them out. We're able to sell them off. So we're just finding ways to build value, and part of that is, if you find a good project, jump on it.
Awesome. So finally, where's the best place for investors to find out more information on the company? Where should they go?
Me. I tell everyone, call me, text me, email me. If I'm busy, and I usually, unfortunately, am busy, I always call back, email back, text back, whatever. Tyler, right? Our IR guy, Tyler Muir, is phenomenal. Call him, text him, email him. Go to our website, get on our mailing list. We're active. We put out a lot of news. We try to keep our shareholders updated and informed. So, all those things are good ways to keep in track of the story. And, watch more Departures Capital, because we'll be doing a bunch of videos coming up to keep everybody up to date. So
awesome, Deepak. Well, thanks for the support as well. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for the updates, and I look forward to having you back on.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. I'll be back soon.